Hello and welcome to a special, very, very quick audio in the heat of the moment into the Black Archive. It's, as we're recording this, about 8:30 on Easter Sunday, and we've both just watched Legend of the Sea Devils, the new Doctor Who special. I'm James, I'm broadcasting from a bedroom, and he's Owen, he's broadcasting from an airport.
Hello. So if you don't like bad audio quality, don't worry. You can skip this podcast because we'll be doing it a bit more in detail around Wednesday.
Yes, there'll be a full one we're going to pop out in a few days. But this is our straight to the point. What did we think as it's just aired? Because we've both watched it in our own way. Oh, in an airport, which is quite funny to me. Did the airport improve the experience, do you think, of watching Who?
I think so, because I was already very bored. So I feel like paint would have been interesting.
You know what's really bizarre about you watching this Easter special in an airport?
What is?
I watched the 2009 Easter special in an airport.
Ooh, and did it stand up to the levels which that brought us?
Yes, it was Cairo Airport, which was slightly more exciting than Luton. But
It's not Luton, it's Gatwick.
Oh, you're at Gatwick. I thought you were at Luton.
No, I think Gatwick. But what did you think of this episode then?
I've had like more and more time to think about it. I think I was a little bit on a positive train because I'd just seen the centenary thing, which we will mention. We will talk about that because there's a lot to mention. But I think the episode is good when it's focusing on the Doctor and Yaz.
Yeah.
And not incredible when it's just focusing on the story it's trying to do. It's very rushed. It kind of feels low budget, and it has a lot of the problems that were in flux.
Yeah, I think some of that budget kind of element can be counted towards fact which COVID. This was recorded during the heat of COVID, so there was a lot of impact in how many people they could have around. So that's probably why they didn't have a crew on the ship, is because having a crew would have been very hard to do.
Yes, I mean, they sort of did it in the 16th century sequence, but they sort of used clever camera angles to limit the amount of people in frame.
Yeah.
To do that. But overall, I thought it was watchable. I didn't mind it. And honestly, I came away with it feeling fairly positive. How about you?
I quite enjoyed it. It felt good. We had good and interesting side characters. I feel like sometimes we've been lacking. The ending felt earned. Because we lost a guy, but we've had justification towards why he sacrificed himself. So I think that's sometimes very sorely missing in some of these Doctor episodes. We had the reason why he sacrificed himself, and we also had a positive outcome as well for Pirate Queen.
Yeah, I think it's an episode where there are a lot of parts that really do work.
Yeah,
I think before talking about the Doctor and Yaz, because I think that needs to be talked about separately almost, because it does kind of feel like it interrupts the story in a few places. Story itself, they rush around a little bit. The Sea Devils are introduced so quickly, not really given much of their context, and just like, oh, look, Sea Devils, they kill and they're from the sea. So they do a lot of that. There's a lot of rushing.
I did wish we had more time with the Sea Devils. It did feel very quick, and
it did. They felt very much like an afterthought. And one of the big questions I have is you get very little explanation as to how they actually defeat the Sea Devils. I mean, we know what happens, but it's so lost in the in all of the Phasmin stuff, if we're using the Twitter name for it, that it kind of feels like we lose how the plot gets resolved. So there are points where maybe that does interrupt, but overall, don't think it's bad. Like you said, I thought the side character was good, particularly what is his name? Is it Jin or is it Jan?
I have to admit, I wasn't paying that much attention.
He was good though. The 16th century pirate who sacrificed himself, even though the reason he was good was because he said really noble things in a cool voice.
Which, I mean, it's Doctor Who. It's all you really need. Isn't that why we all like David Tennant? He said really cool things in a cool way.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it feels like, honestly, if there aren't fan cams of that lad going out tomorrow, I'll be surprised. Yeah, so, didn't mind the whole female Madame Ching's arc was fine. She seemed fairly solidly written. A lot of those characters didn't have much to them, but the bits they did have were quite memorable. So credit to Ella Road who wrote this one with Chibnall.
It does feel like the episode was what happened, it feels like it was shorter compared to, say, what you got with some of the Rusty Davis ones.
Yeah, it felt really rushed, particularly at the start, because I really wasn't sure about the first 20 minutes. I thought they just went like too quickly through events.
Yeah.
And Dan felt like a massive afterthought at the start because they sort of pulled him away with the kids so that the Doctor and Yaz could have their own things. They could deal with some stuff.
He felt like an afterthought throughout most of this episode, let's be honest.
Although, the moment where he does 5 Sea Devils with 1 strike, phenomenally funny. That genuinely works.
So just because we're in a bit of a rush, what did you think about that ending?
About sort of whether the ending was earned and that one on the beach?
Not the ending, the teaser, sorry.
Oh, the teaser. You want to go straight into the teaser?
Yeah.
Well, they've pushed the boat out, I have to say. What an announcement that was.
They've got Ace back as well, which made me excited.
Of all things, yeah. I mean, where's that come from?
Yes.
They've hidden that completely away.
It definitely looks like it's going to be an exciting one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's good or not.
The only issue I have is we've got Ace and Tegan back, we've got Daleks, we've got Cybermen, and we've got the Master, so essentially the holy trinity of Who villains. We've got to deal with the Doctor and Yaz's stuff, and presumably and Vinder's there as well.
I don't think the Daleks are really there. I think they're more of a flashback. If you think about how we see them in that, it's very much Day of the Doctor stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But either way, I mean, with all that, you're starting to wonder how long is this special going to have to be, because they've got a lot of stuff.
It is feature length.
It is. It's like a 90-minute.
Yeah.
If it's 90-minute, then I'm feeling slightly more confident about it. It's just because I don't want them to stuff all of that in and not give everything the proper time it needs. Because obviously, I mean, End of Time was 90 minutes. So if we're basing it on that, then that feels about right.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
A feature-length ending? That's an interesting question.
It's just a centenary, isn't it? But it looks exciting. The regeneration looks interesting.
Yeah, hard to know what the context is, but I looked at the regeneration and I thought, wow, that genuinely looks like it's going to be quite a hard-hitting one.
And it's out for TARDIS as well, if that is the actual regeneration.
Yeah, if that's the one, then that would be that'd be a pretty violent way of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely got me intrigued. I was, to be quite honest, I was more excited to see what they would announce about the centenary than watching Sea Devils. I didn't have a lot of hype for it, but came away pleasantly entertained. I thought it was fine. Definitely better than a lot of the Flux episodes we had.
Yeah.
And definitely excited for the centenary. And before we go, I do want to talk Doctor and Yaz a bit. I know we'll go much more in depth on this on Wednesday.
Very quickly, because I need to run and buy things for my flight.
So, don't you just love impromptu recording? Do you think that their scenes... I'll ask you one question. Do you think their scenes worked for the characters?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a really good way of doing it, because it means we do get that interaction of them obviously both feeling the same way, but we then have the Doctor being sensible about it and going, I want to do this, but we can't.
Yeah, and I think it gives Yaz more character, and I know that it's kind of a cheap trick to make an uninteresting character be interested in the Doctor to make him more interesting, but it is working. Yaz feels more she feels more 3-dimensional in this episode than I think I've ever seen her.
Yeah,
going through a lot of that, and I actually thought Jodie did really well to act that stuff. Like the last scene, she delivered brilliantly. I think in the hands of a less capable actor, that scene wouldn't have worked because it was a little bit cheesy in some parts of the dialogue, but she delivered it well enough that you took it seriously, and so it hit in the right place because of how Jodie did it.
Yeah. So I think
all in all, good fun. We will be back with a full-length talk about this on Wednesday. Am I right?
Yes, that is right. I'm in an airport, so we couldn't record it properly, and James is away, so it is all a bit rushed. This is what happens when people don't
family at Easter is a whole thing, as I'm sure many of you know.
And it doesn't help when the dates aren't announced in advance and we can't make plans.
Yes, because it got announced so late on that we'd already made arrangements.
So thank you very much for listening. Hope you subscribe.
If you want to get to us, we're on Twitter at Black Archive Pod, or you can email us blackarchivepod@gmail.com. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you on Wednesday. Enjoy your flight, Owen.
Bye.
Bye.